The list of demands from student activists are long, but what are institutions doing to address these demands? There are several institutions that are not working to meet the demands of student activists and have in turn punished students. Some institutions are working to address the demands of students by recognizing that student organizations and student leaders need safe spaces on their campuses to talk about the isms and issues that are impacting them. The institutions that have competing interests that make it difficult for them to meet the demands of students as a result of anti-DEI legislation that has been passed in states like Texas are not really working to the extent that students have asked for demands to be met. What is capacity of institutions of higher ed to address these demands? It varies from institution. The current political climate within the state that the institution resides and the institution's governance can have an impact on how they address the students' demands. Many institutions are restricted at risk of losing impactful state funding for any DI efforts. So there's a great amount of fear and hesitation to openly support student demands without losing the favor of politicians, donors, and alumni. It is up to the faculty, staff, and administrators to create opportunities for students to share and discuss their concerns in a safe space on campus. They can also provide counseling to support students affected by incidents on and off campus. Entities outside of higher education that must be involved in change are politicians who write the laws that impact many of the students. For example, the DREAM Act needs bipartisan support from the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. The passage of the DREAM Act would have a huge impact on many of the students and their families. As educators, we must counterposition and show support for student activists and work with them to identify the oppressive practices of the institution to create an inclusive campus environment, resulting in better retention of students that identify with marginalized identities. We should have mental health services and counseling to support students who are experiencing emotional burnout and racial battle fatigue as a result of their activism. We need to also consider their life worlds and worldviews and become familiar with the online platforms that they use for activism so we can follow them and learn about their concerns. One additional overarching question that I would ask is how can educators support student activists, giving them critical hope in order to fight emotional burnout and racial battle fatigue?